Alright guys, we're back here on our 475. I've cleaned up all this stuff right here. This stuff is the stuff that we cannot reuse. This particular setup right here, this is your direct drum, third gear, and it's welded on. This planet set is just, you see the teeth, they're just beat all to pieces, junk. I didn't clean this up. I'd probably reuse that hat, but I don't think I want to. This gear should come out, but as you can see, it's locked down. It should spin. You can see teeth missing. It's just total anarchy's going on inside this thing. So I drove it till it would not even move. Just below that, this ring gear sits and rides on these gears, and you can see the same carnage has happened to that. It's beat the inside of the drum around a little bit where all the metal was riding right there. Just metal just flying through everywhere. What goes down inside here is your sun shell. These teeth are gone, like chewed off like you've never seen before. And it rides down inside there like that, and it's trashed, it's gone. But you see how it free spins, but the gears aren't turning down there, so there's no teeth left on that whatsoever. So that's got to be replaced. Your reverse input drum. This is what happens. And you can see it's kind of concave too. This is what happens when you ride your band, your overdrive band, until there's nothing left of it. And I'll show you the band here in a minute. Inside the drum's not bad, but I can't run it. I can't use that. And a new band will never seat on that properly. You know. So there's no rerunning that. The rings inside look good from the pump, where you see these two lines right here, there, and there. Those come from the pump stator. And it seals up that so you have reverse input. When you put it in reverse, it grabs and goes. The reverse band also goes around this drum. And that's got some scarring on it as well, but it's part of that planet set that's totally trashed, and we can't use any of that. Now, on to the pump stator. This is the part in the front that your pump bolts onto. The converter rides on this, and this we call it stator because it stays stationary as you're going down the road. Now, this doesn't look bad. This metal's clean. Down here is pretty clean. Doesn't have any markings on it. The bushings inside look decent. The shaft itself looks good. The backside, where these rings ride, that's in pretty good shape. That feels really good. These two rings right here don't feel bad. Of course, the rings you get replaced, but if the rest of the shaft is all messed up, it's no good. There's a bushing in there, way up in there. It's not too bad, but if you look, that right there, and I'll try to get down here on an angle, that's where the reverse input snap ring, the top of that drum where it rides in that groove, has blown off and just beat the living crap out of that all the way around there. You can see how deep it's cut into that thing. And I'll show you the reverse input snap ring. Uh-oh, there she is. That's what's left of her. She goes inside here, and this stator flipped upside down rides inside that drum, and it's common. It will come out. I've never seen it do that to a stator before, so they rode this thing for a long time, cut up like that. Wow, that's amazing. So let's go back to our band, our overdrive band. They've run it down, run it completely to it's cutting into the rivets that hold it together. You can see how bad a shape it's in anyway. I mean, of course, it's going to get replaced, but once you run it so far that it's chewing the rivets up, then you're destroying the band drum. So when you think, oh, I'll keep limping it and keep limping it, and then it's going to cost me the same money to have it fixed. No, it's not, because now I have to replace all that. The reverse band, you see where metal's still embedded in it. And I did clean some of these parts up, just so you get an idea without it being just covered in fluid. They're worn out on the tips. That's a common thing, because it grabs on these two bands right here in the case, and then the servo pushes on it. The reverse servo pushes that, and you can see that's why they have wear right there, and that's normal. and you would always replace them during the rebuild anyway. The rest of the band wasn't in that bad a shape, but yeah, definitely done a number on it. Now, the part that kind of got me, that kind of threw me a little bit, was the pump. There's your pump gears, and they ride down inside the pump like that. Then your pump stator goes down in, like so, and you pull it up together, and they all bolt together through these holes right here, and lines all your feed holes up, puts the fluid to the proper place it's got to go. But when I noticed that these gears were hard to get out, I really got to looking. And you guys can see the pits in these gears where that metal has got inside the pump and just chewed that up. You see all those pits? That's not nice and smooth and happy, so we're not going to can't run that. The same thing with the stator, or the outer gear here. It doesn't even want to come out. I'll put you down for a second. There we go. The outer gear, you can see inside there where it's just beat the brakes off of that thing. It's no good. And also, on the top side of it here, you can actually feel ridges inside this right here, the outside edge of that. And when you feel that, you know it's done damage inside the pump. See where that's been beaten on that? So you got a lot of slack in there. You can also see where it's been chewing on the edges. I'm still not sure where these 3 lines came from. It wasn't from me, that's for sure. It's kind of odd, saw that. But you can see the grooves on the flat surface in the back, and you can see the grooves on the edge right down there. It's just beat up pretty good. So our nice pump is no good. Stator's no good. Reverse input's no good. Overdrive band is no good. Ring gear, the front and rear entire Planet Set, Sun Shell, all of that is out of this thing. The case I still believe is salvageable. I just got it out of the wash tank. These are the clutches out of it. Your forward clutches were completely smoked, steels and all, spring plate, all that. It just beat them up. There's nothing left of them. They just ate them all to pieces. They drove this thing until it literally would not move anymore. Unless your reverse input clutches, they weren't bad. Your intermediates right there, they were still good. They hardly ever go bad. I have seen them bad, but it's not often. All your rubber seals, and this is the pump washer. They melted the damn pump washer, guys. All that burnt shit, that's no good. There's the bad bearing in the pile of metal, and that was his other filter. And I'm sure the filter's stopped up full of metal down in there. Oh yeah, you can see shiny stuff. But that's all from this guy. Planetary Set. Killed it. So if you ever go to have your car worked on and they kind of give you a rough estimate over the phone or even in person before they tear the unit down, and you ever get that 2-price scenario, say, well, it costs this much, but if it's in real bad shape, it can run up to this much. This one's going to be one of those that's going to run up to that much for sure. I got to replace both pieces of the pump, the gearing, the reverse input drum, the entire Planet Set, top to bottom, the ring gear. Of course, I already had the bands. Those are always in there. That's always an upgrade that we do anyway because we're tired of seeing that blow off. But this is about one of the worst ones I've seen to still have a probably salvageable case. The pumps hardly ever get damaged like that on these. I've seen it before, but not often, especially not on that pump stator where they just ran this thing and ran it like they tried to drive it 500 miles after the bearing failed just to see how far it would go. But that's where we're at with this one, and I cleaned up what parts I was able to salvage, and it's not much. That's about it right there. I'm surprised this drum wasn't trashed. I've got a lot of cleaning to do on it to get it up. It's preliminary wash just to get the oil off of it. It's all I've done so far. But yeah, it's about as bad as you can get. I've got the new bands, the ship kit, case connector, new filter, the entire kit right here. That bolt don't belong. The entire kit contains all your clutches, seals, gaskets, everything like that. So we were ready for all that. We were expecting that. That's your common build. This is all you need with the ship kit. That's your basic go-to scenario. But when that's all you got left and all these hard parts are bad, you know, the price goes up. I mean, I got to buy all this stuff, and you know, I've got a core that I might be able to tear some of it apart, and I might be able to get a good pump out of it, and I might be able to get a Planet. But there's a lot of this other stuff I'm gonna have to buy, and the more it comes out of my pocket for the build, then the price goes up. So just keep that in mind, guys. When your mechanic says, you know, well, it could range between this and this, and this is what we're talking about. If it's this bad, which is about as bad as you can get without just having to buy a whole nother transmission altogether, then that's what you end up with. You know, you're at the upper end of the price scale. But when all this stuff is not bad, and we just have to replace clutches and seals and all that because they're burnt up, and clean up some stuff and doing upgrades on the little stuff that we always do anyway, like that snap ring's always got an upgrade going on. You always replace your bands and stuff anyway, bearings and bushings and all the bushings and stuff in here that always get replaced, especially the pump bushing. We start getting into stuff like that, it's not that bad a deal. So we always kind of start you off on the well, you know, best case scenario, this is what you're looking at, but worst case scenario, you got to buy all this stuff too. So that's where we're at with this one, and we're gonna keep plugging along. I've got my case, I'm getting ready to pull it out of the washer. I've got to get all this crap cleared off the table so I can get my case over here and give it a good once over, or maybe 3 times over. There's still some metal stuck in it in a couple spots that I saw that I'm gonna pick out and make sure it's not gonna do any damage or be in the way. And if it is, then I'll just have to get him another transmission to start over. But the price is going to be high if I got to replace the unit altogether and then build it too. But it might be better off than buying all this stuff. We might save some money if we do that. But we're going to see. I've got a late model over there in the floor, the 4R75. And the difference between that and the other one is you got 2 sensors that go in the case. And if you'll notice, that's a magnet. Obviously, you can see sticking to that. It doesn't stick to this drum. The reason it doesn't stick to this drum is because when that forward drum rides inside this, there's a sensor that sits on the outside of this thing from outside the case. It'll ride right here on the edge, and it'll pick up the inside drum by reading through this drum because it's non-ferrous. So, but in the earlier ones, it didn't have that front sensor, it's an input speed sensor. The earlier ones, it didn't have it. That turned so free, but to have no teeth on it, that's crazy. But that's what we're looking at, guys. Stay tuned. We'll get this thing finished up here probably tomorrow. If I don't end up having to just get a whole nother transmission for it, which I'm hoping not, but still a possibility. But we'll see about it, and we'll give you guys an update later on. Hey, thanks for watching.